Despite not having much cap space at all, the Lakers have certainly been busy in free agency, signing multiple players, mostly to veteran minimums, but a few guys making a bit of money. All their signings so far are on your screen right now, and in this video I'm just gonna go talk about them one by one, and then ask the question if the Lakers have had a good free agency. And something to note is the Lakers free agency certainly isn't over, and it will continue for a while. They still have Schroeder, who is a free agent. They have his bird rights. They could potentially make a sign and trade work, though they couldn't take back too much salary. They also still have their $5.9 million mid-level exception, so they could go after a guy with that. There are some decent remaining free agents between maybe Kelly Oubre or Danny Green. There's plenty of guys. This is not a video about that, but yeah, they're not done with free agencies. They have to sign 4 more guys because they only have 11 guys on the roster, I believe. Maybe 12 now, but yeah. First of all, Talen Horton-Tucker, they re-signed him to like 3 years, $30 million. It's good to be able to keep him. A young player who definitely shows some potential in terms of being a guy who can use his weight, use his strength, and get to the rim. A bit of a slasher, and obviously he's probably not worth the $10 million right now, but it's worth it to keep the asset. Maybe use him in a future trade. I think there would be some teams interested in him. Or just have some fresh legs coming off the bench, and he gives them, in his ability to slash and drive to the rim, something that they don't really have. So off the bench, I mean, LeBron and Westbrook can get to the rim, but more with their cheaper free agents. Next, Carmelo Anthony. This one had been rumored for a while. I'd talked about it a few times. Yeah, I think with Melo, you're getting someone who shot 41% from 3 last year and who has remade himself into a spot-up shooter. I think it's a nice fit around LeBron and Westbrook. They need guys who can space the floor. Shooting was their number one need, and I think overall they've addressed it pretty well. And Melo is a part of that. He also has some good size. Defensively, not great, but puts in the effort. So I think this is a good signing, especially at the minimum. Very low risk and can provide some shooting and some size, which the Lakers need. Next, Malik Monk, which I think is their best free agent signing. Pretty cheap. I don't remember the exact contract, but I think it was like $5 million. And yeah, he's someone who's also a great shooter, but is a bit more. He can shoot off the catch, but he can also do a bit of off-ball stuff and some on-ball stuff. He can come off screens. He can run a few pick and rolls. He can give them some secondary ball handling and creation. He's also a very athletic. He can dunk. He's a nice leaper. Maybe there'll be some alley-oop plays for him. Some plays coming off the ball for some screens. Getting him more involved in the offense, because he's a guy who can average double-digit points and who's athletic. And he's young, and he's a good shooter. I think this was a great signing for the Lakers. The question is really the defense, but I think he provides enough offensively that if he's able to just survive defensively, it'll be worth it for the Lakers to have him out on the court. Next, we get Wayne Ellington, someone who is a bit older, as many of the Lakers free agents are. I think he can provide some shooting, which is the number one biggest need. I mentioned guys like J.J. Redick and Kyle Korver a bit before, and I think Wayne Ellington falls into that mold. Someone who's a really good shooter, and if he can be maybe a bit better defensively, certainly a bit smarter and more experienced, then I think his shooting is massively valuable. I mean, all these guys are going to get great looks just off of LeBron and Westbrook and the gravity they have going to the rim, and what good passers they are. So just by being out on the court, like you can expect like at least 4 catch and shoot threes that are at least semi open, And then, all the off ball relocation, coming off screens, that's all extra. But I think the bread and butter of the Lakers offense, when it comes down to it, is going to be the LeBron and AD pick and roll with shooters spotting up and providing spacing. And, if you can shoot and stay on the court defensively, you're a good signing for the Lakers, in my opinion. Next, we get to Kendrick Nunn. I wasn't really expecting this, but I think Malik Monk is probably a better signing, but I think Kendrick Nunn sort of in a similar mold in that he can be a secondary ball handler, probably even more of a point guard and more of a ball handler than Malik Monk. Obviously, size is an issue for him. He's not too big, but if he can shoot, which he can, and he can provide a bit more playmaking, I think he'd probably be like the person who handles the ball third most for the Lakers if they don't bring back Schroeder. That's something, as I've mentioned, you can't have having multiple ball handlers is very important, especially, playing with one of Westbrook or LeBron. If a team needs to force it out of their hands, having other guys who can make plays for themselves and for others is very important. And yeah, I think Kendrick Nunn can provide a bit of that for 2 years, $10 million. I think that's a decent signing. It's also nice to get some youth. I mean, Nunn and Monk are and Taylor Horton-Tucker are the three youngest guys on the roster. And then after that, it's AD, who's 28, and everyone else is over 32. So having young legs, some guys who can play minutes in the regular season, because I don't think you want to be putting too many minutes on LeBron and Westbrook and AD in the regular season. So guys who can help you out there are going to be important for the Lakers. Next, we get Kent Bazemore. Maybe a bit more of a defensive-minded signing, though he's not a great defender. He's probably just a solid one. His three-point shot, I haven't looked at the numbers, but I believe it's a bit up and down. Sometimes he makes them, sometimes he doesn't. He probably provides a little bit more athleticism and a little bit more size, which could be a worry for the Lakers if you look at Monk and Nunn are both relatively small and not too heavy or strong. So Bazemore can provide a little bit of that. I think he might be my least favorite signing for the Lakers. Not that I'm against the signing. I think for a minimum it's a solid pickup, but he doesn't really solidly provide he doesn't give you guaranteed good shooting or guaranteed good defense. So maybe that's through, or maybe if you can put it together and is a good defender and a good shooter, he gives them something they don't have in this free agent signing crop. But Kent Bazemore, solid pickup, I'd say. Next, we get to Dwight Howard. Great signing for me. Bringing him back to the Lakers, it just seemed like a no-brainer. Someone who can set the tone defensively, bang with the bigger bigs when AD wants to play power forward, and just knows his role defensively, protecting the paint, and offensively having a solid screen setter and rim runner. Maybe some off-ball screens, setting pin downs for Malik Monk could be a thing, could be interesting. I think great signing. They needed a center alongside Gasol, someone who's a bit more athletic. Maybe he's a little bit worse than he was 2 years ago when he was with the Lakers, but I still think this is a really, really good pickup. And then finally, Ariza, probably the best defender out of the bunch. Someone who has a bit of size, can play the power forward position in the front court beside LeBron and AD. The shooting, 36%, I believe it was. That's solid. So I think I like Ariza because he gives them a little bit more size than the other guys. And, if they're going up against big teams, I'm thinking, if they face the Bucks in the finals, of course, that's, a lot of stuff has to go for that to happen. Or just generally having more size. If I think back to the 2020 title, that was probably their biggest advantage, apart from having LeBron and AD, just the amount of size they had. So getting Ariza, Howard, gives them a little bit more help in that department. So yeah, good signing for Ariza. So overall, I think the Lakers have done well. If I'm grading it, I'd say B+. A lot of solid players, and players who fill different needs. You get the creation and shooting from guys like Malik Monk and Kendrick Nunn. You get defense from Dwight Howard and Ariza, and then shooting from Melo and Wayne Ellington. So, yeah, I think they have done a good job this free agency so far, and there still could be more to come, both now in free agency and when players get bought out and towards the end of the season, even with the trade with Horton Tucker. So I don't think the Lakers are done, but so far I think it's been good in filling what they need. But anyways, thanks for watching this video, guys. Leave a like, subscribe to this channel for more NBA content, and I'll see you guys next time.